And watching that, you go, oh, they were so good.
They are so good. Well, I have to say that sometimes improv, we've all seen that improv troupe that isn't quite pulling it off.
Yeah.
And then, but to see it at its highest form, which often it is when we see, I've seen you do some stuff where I cannot believe what you have pulled out of your ass and have hit us over the head with. Like, it's genius. It's almost comedy in its purest form because it's not rehearsed and it's just flowing out. And you must feel like that, like you get into the zone sometimes.
Well, I mean, when you're at your best, it feels like you're walking backwards and you're not editing yourself. You're just saying what comes into your head, which is usually 95% of the time the right thing to say. And also, we played together a long time, so we can bounce backwards with our eyes closed to each other. And we go fast. On the TV show, it's furious. On stage, we take a little more time to breathe because we're doing an hour and a half up there.
Right.
But on TV, you know, the games are 2 minutes long or 2.5 minutes long.
And
so it's joke.
Right. There must be stuff that gets cut, too. So you probably do way more than...
Honestly, we shoot for about 2.5 hours. Most of it is ins and outs and ups and downs. We just get up out of the chairs, and so we can edit the show any way we want. Every single game can go with every other single game in the show.
Oh.
So that's how we shoot it. So if you come to see a taping, which you shouldn't do because you're there for 4 hours and there's no bloody water, we play like 25 games, and then we get up and down and, you know, okay, Greg's going to play this one, Wayne's going to play this one, and all we do is stand up and sit down for camera.
Oh.
So that they can cover every single
So here's the outfit that I'm wearing. I'm wearing it the whole show, and we're getting up and getting down.
And they'll make 2 or 3, at least 2 out of every show.
Oh.
Every taping.
So 4 hours of taping, 2 shows come out.
When we finished the ABC show, we had a whole nother season in the can.
So where is that stuff?
That showed on ABC Family when it was ABC Family before it's Dewdrop or whatever it is now.
So when you do a day of that...
I don't know what...
I don't know.
ABC Family's got some weird name.
Who can keep track of any of these networks anymore? There's just too many choices.
Right.
Is your brain just smoking after 4 hours of doing that? I mean...
yeah. It's not so bad.
You're not worn. Like, I mean, I can't. I'm going home and I'm going to hide in a dark room.
Oh, I'd go home and have a drink. But,
okay.
you know, it's not the worst job in the world. I don't have to work in a coal mine or anything.
No.
So you just focus on it for a few hours. It's always good to eat before. That's nice.
Right.
If you can have a meal. That way your blood sugar doesn't dip halfway through the show and you're like, where am I?
I do feel like when people who are, you know, really great at something, and a comedian or a sports person or, you know, whatever it is that you're doing that you can hyper focus on for this, you know, it's this amount of time. You've got to, because in real life, we don't have that kind of attention, that kind of like sort of zoned in attention. And I think it's a total muscle. So you must just like, you go, you work it out. And then you can go home and have some drinks.
It absolutely is a muscle. And when you don't do it for a long time, you get rusty. But I never don't do it for a long time, so...
Well, clearly, we had no idea, but...
I play a couple hundred days a year, so... And that's the thing about when we do the live group with Ryan and everybody, which we're not doing tonight, by the way. I'm doing the podcast, which I did last week in Oklahoma City. And then next week we're in Pasadena. And then the week after that we're in Edinburgh. And then after that we're in London. So...
But tonight... Punchline.
Right.
At 8 o'clock.
If people come to see you at the Punchline, they're not going to see a regular stand-up. You're going to be doing your...
That's right, the podcast.
Your podcast.
I
now,
sit
how
at a
is
table
that?
and I spiel.
Okay.
I sit at a table, I have a glass of vodka, I start spieling, I get up and dance like an idiot. We talk about a lot of things. This week we'll probably talk... I mean, George Romero passed away. We do elaborate obituaries for people who are swirling in the stars, people who are worthy. And... There's a few people this week, absolutely.
Excellent.
So there's that. And then we talk about politics, a lot of politics lately, of course, because we live in a crazy world, so...
We do.
And I try to be funny. People bring swag, believe it or not, because I've done the show for about 5 years. And I've talked about, you know, dope and food and feminism and history and literature and all this.
So they want to share with you.
People bring books, people bring vodka, people bring baseball stuff. And so...
Like, I know he likes this, and I would like to give him my first edition copy of...
Exactly. Yes, if only. I haven't gotten a first edition yet. I have a garage full of swag. And
I should have a garage sale.
Yeah, right?
Although there would be it's only a small segment who could truly appreciate the things that you collected.
I was going to say, it's pretty sentimental to me. A lot of it's so specific. Because we have loads of running gags on the show. Satchel Paige, the Negro League baseball star, Muntjax. There's a elusive, ephemeral, emotional support Muntjac, which sometimes appears at the show and supports you in everything you do.
Oh.
You know, Muntjac's a small Vietnamese barking deer.
I don't know anything about this, and it supports you emotionally and the things that... Tell me more.
Well, it happened at a show. We were doing a show in Los Angeles, and I heard... in the back of the room. I'm not kidding, and I don't know what it was. There was no animal in the room, and I was like, oh my God, you guys hear that? It's the elusive, ephemeral, emotional support muntjac. And then someone gave me a muntjac that says emotional support on it, like, you know, the emotional support pigs and dogs that people have.
So you just randomly put that together, like they don't have these...
That was just a pull you made.
Yes.
You had that sitting on standby for...
No, I didn't write any of this. It's like, I try to make it organic. Kittens McTavish is our mascot, and Kittens McTavish is sort of this pansexual cat that hates the show, that is in the show.
Oh.
And, yeah, so there's all sorts of running gags.
We have one of those.
People give me all sorts of weird things, and
Or things just aren't as clever as Greg's.
And I chuck them into the show. So the first part of the show is usually me kind of going through the swag and talking about everything. Lots of poetry. I read poetry on the show, so people give me poems and poetry books.
That can go horribly wrong.
But generally people think poetry is a more bitter pill than it is. Poetry is fun and helps people deal with the grim reality of our day-to-day existence. There's nothing like some metaphor to clear your mind.
Have you ever written like a love poem to someone, or?
When I was a teenager, I wrote some pretty sad poetry about getting jilted and stuff like that.
Oh.
But I'm never, ever going to read that. And when I die, I hope it's burned before anyone reads it.
You haven't burned it yourself? You have it saved somewhere in that garage of yours?
Somewhere. Yeah, it's in the garage. Well, you remember when Kurt Cobain passed and they sold his notebooks from high school, and it was like, don't do that.
Yeah.
No, that's not for people to read. That was stuff you wrote down. You're like, I hate my life. You know, like, that's personal.
They're reading into every little thing that this 12th grader had to say.
Yeah, they'll publish everything of people after they pass, which
we're hungry for them. You know, once someone famous goes, then it's almost like the fervor begins.
I want more. I want more from them. How come we can't have more?
Is this the cat?
No, but there's always
McTavish?
kittens. There's always, that's a psychedelic version of Kittens
I'm
McTavish.
on gregproops.com. Greg's in studio now and playing tonight at
the
Punchline.
So the rest of the week, are you doing your stand-up routine, and then tonight is
telling my jokes,
telling your jokes,
which are a lot of politics, as you might imagine now, and of course stuff about San Francisco and places I've been. I mean,
you're from San Francisco, right? Isn't this?
I am. I'm from San Carlos, the whitest place on earth, home of the Plain Yogurt Festival.
Oh, who knew they had a festival for that? I lives in San Carlos.
Where One Direction is found in the hip-hop section. Good night, everybody.
I love San Carlos.
Huh?
I always hang out in San Carlos.
You hang out in San Carlos?
Well, I live in Redwood Shores.
Ah, there you are. See, Redwood Shores. Where Marine World used to be.
Yeah, Marine World, Africa, USA.
Yeah, before Africa, USA.
Yeah.
Before it was in Vallejo, is it?
Yeah.
Wait, so it was there?
I went there, I went there, and they used to allow you to rent a little wetsuit and snorkel, and you could go diving at... Yeah,
really?
I swear to you, I did that.
This is a long time ago.
When
they used to have water skiing shows. They were fantastic.
Out
and
on
elephant
the bay?
rides?
Yeah.
There was an elephant you could ride? This was in the 70s.
Oh.
This is a while ago, in the 80s.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
then
I've
they
lived
moved
here
to
20 years, but it's been in Vallejo the whole time.
Yeah.
No, it was a big exciting thing when I was a little kid because they opened an amusement park like 5 miles from our house, you know. That was when San Carlos wasn't a series of weird industrial buildings along the freeway, when it was just a quiet little white town of nothing, full of nothing with nothing happening at all except for nothing. There's only one other comedian. There's two famous people from San Carlos, Dana Carvey and Catherine Bigelow, who directed Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30.
Dana's from there too?
Dana went to Carmont High School, which is across town. I went to San Carlos High, which is now a bunch of condos.
So there are three famous people. You again with your humility.
Yeah, okay. And me, most of all, primarily me from San Carlos. Yeah. But I couldn't wait to leave San Carlos and come to San Francisco. So that was our goal always. All we did was drive up on the weekends and come see concerts and take drugs and stuff.
Just roam the city.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd come and see the Tubes or Blondie or whatever. Go to Winterland when Winterland was there.
Funny.
Yeah.
So can I ask you a question?
Yes, my darling.
Of course, you know, as you know, most of your jokes go over my head completely, and so I hope that
that's why I come here.
We've been sort of talking about cults this week.
Yes.
And I wondered, Greg, what is a cult exactly? And B, if you're willingly there and you're of age.
Oh, this is referencing
it's the R. Kelly cult.
The R. Kelly.
Oh, golly.
Yeah.
They're not of age, though. That's the
No, they
thing.
are, though. I mean, he obviously has a propensity towards the younger set. But he's got these girls living in 6 or 8 different places outside Chicago and outside Atlanta. And they've basically cut off contact with their families. Yeah. But they're of age. And when they do wellness checks on these people, they're all alive. So what is that a cult, or is that just women who enjoy the company of R. Kelly? Like, what's the...
Well,
he controls what they eat.
It's difficult to know what's going on in R. Kelly's mind. I felt like he should have been incarcerated several years ago. There was an article, and I can't remember the name of the author, forgive me, in one of the papers, a Chicago paper, who was like, why isn't R. Kelly in jail? Kind of like Hannibal Buress said with Bill Cosby.
Right.
Because he's known predilection for underage people, which is not on at all. There's no excusing it. There's no... amending it. There's no going, oh, it's okay. They like it. No, they don't like it. You are under 18. You don't get to choose to have intercourse with people who are over 18. If you're 15 and you're dating someone who's 16, good for you.
Yes. How very age appropriate of you.
If you're 15 and you're dating someone who's 25, boo. That's
and if you're 15 and dating someone who's 35, 45, whatever.
Yakadoodle. So I'd say they're under his sway. I think, mostly we think of cults as like religious or Jonestown or, the Unification Church or...
The Hail Bop group.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And I think it's people who are of a like mind. I think people who join cults, not particularly the R. Kelly one, are looking for some sort of belief system that they can hang their life on and justify why they exist. And that's sort of it. A need for identity.
Gives it to them.
Yeah, and all of a sudden you're in a group and everybody believes the same thing, so you're like, I'm not wrong.
Because we're all.
Well, it's that comfort of knowing that there's all these other people who kind of believe the same thing you do. But the danger in it, of course, is usually it's a man, and usually the man uses the cult as an excuse to take advantage of all the women in the cult, and that's where I get off the train.
Right.
Now, if you come to my show, it's a cult, but it's a beneficent cult.
And people come and go as they please.
Absolutely. No one is withheld. No one's detained. Everyone's there of their own volition.
In fact, they'd probably rather be, you can't even call yours a cult. I'm sorry, Greg, you can't, because those people would love to come to your house and just stay with you and hear your message of brainwashing. Yeah, they would, and there's no room for them on
my sofa, and that's my weed. Put that down.
Yeah. No sharing. Hey, weed's legal.
I know. Is that exciting? Now, when does it happen in California? When do we start to...
This January, right?
January of 2018.
Because you saw what happened in Nevada a couple weeks ago. They ran out of weed after the first week. That was fantastic.
Us, man.
They were shipping it in from California, which I love.
Did you see the one store that they kept featuring in the stories from Nevada was this, like, high-end... Almost like
boutique-y.
Yeah. They were showing it, like the weed you can get is beyond belief, and the guy actually candle waxes the top and stamps the thing closed.
Oh goodness!
Right. Artisanal.
That's what he's selling, and he's selling out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, they can ask anything they want for it. Well, I mean, it's another one of those things that in the United States, we're so full of Puritan misery, right? The country was founded by white supremacists who wanted everyone to not have a good time. And now, of course, 250 years later, it's like, hey, guess what? Every state that legalizes weed is a huge success. And...
Because
would you
people
rather,
since the dawn of time have wanted to alter their minds.
And people since the dawn of time have altered their minds in a dazzling variety of ways. It's the government that wants you to not be altered. They would rather you drank alcohol because it's far less constructive.
So much better.
You can smoke weed and still write and things like that. You can clean your house for hours.
Sure. Oh, whatever your obsession is, it can be accomplished. I mean, I agree that people shouldn't get stoned and drive, and I don't know how they're going to...
It doesn't improve your performance, it alters your performance.
Right, but certainly I've written some of my most amazing songs while I was stoned, at least I thought so.
And then you look at them later and like, did I write that?
Yeah, because that's going to need a tweak or two.
We used to do a dope benefit here every year with a comic named Guy Obilum, and... this is before it was legal.
A dope benefit?
Yeah, it was like the Cannabis Action Network, or they'd given themselves some catchy name.
Brought to you by High Times.
Right. And the crowd, it would be at the punchline. So before the show, everybody would be out smoking dank, out on the deck. And then everybody come into the show, and the manager would say to me, we haven't sold any alcohol tonight, but we have no more nachos. And it's like, it's so cliche. They'd sell 5,000 waters.
Right.
And all the food in the place gone.
But
because stoners,
right? You don't want to have any drinks.
Stoners are like, I'll have a beer. They're not like...
Yeah. An experienced stoner knows that the
two
don't really mix, right?
No, they don't. I've buried more than one person in that respect. But people come along and they've already had a few drinks, and I'll be getting high, and they'll go, here, let me have some. And I'll go like, it's very strong, you should go slowly. And they'll go, hey, don't tell me what to do.
Because they're drunk.
Right, and I'm like, I'm not doing this to be a weenie. I'm doing it because I care that you don't spin off into the universe later, and I find you face down in a pile of your own sick on Battery Street.
It's always a mistake if you've already... you have to choose one. You got to choose one. Tonight I'm going to drink.
Yeah.
But the problem is that when you're drinking, everything seems like a great idea.
Right? Your inhibitions get lowered.
But when you are
Handcuffs.
smoking weed, nothing seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
Like, no. I'm just going to have some nachos and stay here.
Right.
You know, like you said, you might have a beer or two, but when you're, it's always the final nail in the coffin. Like if you've had a few drinks and then you...
Hey, let's smoke some weed. And now you don't just smoke some weed because, as Vinnie was saying, weed is incredibly strong now.
Yeah.
We were in a dispensary.
Different than when we were kids.
Yeah, oh my God. We used to have brown weed that had, like, bugs in it. You would find bugs in
you
it.
had to stem them, too, and seed them, get the garbage out of there.
Yeah, there'd be like a praying mantis in your bag, and it would come in a big baggie.
Right.
With the fold over top.
Well,
that's have a little Ziploc
what they were showing in that news story from this Nevada pop boutique were these glass tubes where that you could see the purple and green crystal hairs in the weed. And I was just looking at that thinking, the kid, well, sorry, probably not the kids, but whoever is of age.
It's a lot of grown-ups too.
Yeah.
Sure. But man,
no, we were in a dispensary
good stuff.
outside of Seattle, and Jeff in our group is not very stony, and we stopped in, and I was buying some stuff, and he goes to the guy behind the counter, the bud tender, as they're known now.
Wonderful.
He says, "Do you have anything weak? I don't really want to get that high. Do you have anything that's kind of lower intensity?" And the guy goes, "No." Look at this place. It's Disneyland.
Try
this
a
is
cigarette.
the magic shop. Yeah, right?
Get a little buzz off
Put a piece
cigarette.
of hash in a cigarette. Have that. Because it's not going to, they don't really have the lower grades anymore.
It's come a long way, too. I mean, it's actually, I feel like it's happening 20 years too late for me because I don't even really ever smoke anymore. But when I was a kid, I would have been all about it. They've got those vaporizers now.
Well,
and
the edibles
oil.
seem like a really good idea, I think.
I'm not a big edible girl because they're too much for me. I think when you smoke it, you can modulate, or what's the word?
Moderate.
Moderate how much you have. You can take a hit.
Right.
And then stop.
Right.
And then
see
take
how
another,
that affects you.
And then
add
take another
more
one.
as you go. Sure.
Right. 15 minutes later, you can take another hit. But if you eat half of a cookie, like, it's an imprecise science. How much of the weed is in which half of the cookie? This is a conundrum. Now, all of a sudden, we're into philosophy here. And so you eat half the cookie, and you're like, holy cow.
And it's 12 hours later, and you're just
Beatrice Arthur's chasing me down the hall with a Butterfingers. You don't know what's happening
I don't
anymore.
like the edibles.
Well, it sounds like you have a healthy relationship with the drug. There are people, I don't want to name anyone, who would say, give me the whole damn cookie. I'm not worried about it.
I'll take a sleeve of those. Put it in a Thin Mint.
Right.
I'm in.
Right. The times I have done it, I remember taking a walk with my wife once, and I became hysterical over nothing, and I was just in complete hysterics. And she goes, "What is the matter with you?" And I went, "I swear to God, I only ate this much of it." Like in the 70s movie, I only ate this much of a candy bar. And that's all I had eaten, but it was like, I guess it was all in that end.
Yeah.
So that's the problem I have
end.
with it. The dosage is a little erratic.
Yeah. Well, maybe they'll get that down to a science, too.
Well, it is. Right. They have those little mild ones now that come in. Oh, believe me, if you go in, they've got
they'll talk you through. You tell them what you want.
conceivable.
Oh, I get paranoid, or I have anxiety. Oh, well, here's what you need.
I want a body rush, but then later it turns into a head thing, and they go, "Oh, well, what you need is."
Oh,
and I'm not that big.
The bud tender does that.
Right. I'm not that big a connoisseur. People go, "What kind do you like?" And I'm like, "The kind that gets you high."
Yeah.
It's like vodka. People say, "What's your favorite vodka?" And I'm like, "Do it come in a bottle."
That's my favorite. All right, Greg Proops, tonight the podcast. You're recording that at the Punchline, and then you're doing shows through Saturday.
That's right.
It's always so great to see you here.
Let me add that at gregproops.com, you have an excellent website, and tickets can be purchased at your website.
Oh yeah, sure. You can go to gregproops.com, and there's links to all the shows and pictures and videos and all kinds of nonsense.
Well,
cool.
It's always great to see you, Greg.
You guys are beautiful. Thank you for having me on again.
Oh, thank you. Greg Proops, everyone. The Punchline starting tonight.
Yay.
Alice's 21st birthday celebration continues.
Happy birthday, Alice.
Happy birthday, Alice.